Welcome back, East Troy. As you are probably well aware, we've had quite a few changes in our staff this year. Among these is our previous co-principal, Mr. Kitzlar, who recently left us to go be the principal at Waukesha South. Now, while we're going to pretend we're not at least a little hurt by this announcement, let's take this opportunity to meet our new co-principal, Mr. Kleinowski. This little mini-documentary is structured into 3 parts: before East Troy, coming to East Troy, and being at East Troy.
High school. So like in high school I went to West Bend East, and again it's 2 giant comprehensive high schools, but it's really in the same building. So that very large high school, but it also allowed for a lot of opportunities, which was cool. I always tell people, like, if you were to find me in high school, you could find me in 2 spots for the most part, and that would be in the art classes and in science classes. Like, those are my 2 passions. Stevens Point has a really great study abroad program, and so after my freshman year I applied to go to Poland to study. I also have old family there, so I was actually able to visit the hamlet from where my family, so just a shack, literal like outhouse, stereotypical outhouse, like that's what they still use where my family came from, like single light bulb hanging from a ceiling, 2 ruts in the ground to get there type thing. And that kind of threw off some of my classes and things like that, and that's when I got more into the social sciences. And thought like social studies teacher might be the path for me. I did eventually go back to Cardinal Stritch to get my master's in special education, so did the special education thing for a while, and then went back to Cardinal Stritch to get a master's in administration and curriculum, which I finished up about 3 or 4 years ago. So where I spent most of my educational career was at West Ellis Central High School. So I was there for the last 12 years, and for 6 of those years I was a special education teacher. I co-taught in social studies and science. I also have my degree in social studies. So originally I wanted to be a social studies teacher, and I kind of then moved into special education after my first job. My first job kind of said, hey, we need this, and so then I went into that, worked there, worked at an alternative high school for 2 years in West Bend.
So is there anything that really drew you to East Troy in particular?
Yeah, so the co-principalship actually interested me. That was one of the things about the position that was interesting, just because I like the idea of having somebody also there that you can work with through things, because oftentimes there's a saying, which many people might not know unless you're in education, things like that, that the principalship is like one of the loneliest positions you can have. And then also the size. I mean, a third thing was the size of the building I'm coming from. You know, I went to school in West Bend, which is a very large, 2 comprehensive high schools in the same building, which I think it's the only one in the country like that. It's weird. Around the 600 mark seemed like a really nice size to be working in a high school, and there's only 1 high school in the district, which helps because then we're all on the same team as opposed to having rivalries that don't really help anybody. So. It's been really great. Last night I was able to go to the cross-country meet. I used to coach cross-country and run cross-country, so that was really fun. But so far it's been excellent. The students have been phenomenal and been really helpful and welcoming and everything, and the staff as well it's been really great. So I've been really happy about you know, being allowed to come in here and to work with everybody. So it's been awesome. Yeah. So, some of the stuff is, I think it's really important as a new person coming into any new situation, is one of them is just to get a feel for things. I don't believe in coming in and just starting to make massive changes in this and that. I think it's really important to understand what the culture is and where the people are at, both in terms of students and staff. And I've also been just doing a lot of listening sessions with staff members and trying to understand, like, where do they see concerns and issues and things like that, and what can we do to make things better. That's my big hope and plan, and that's my why for the work that I do. So,
well,
all right, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out.
I didn't want to get too personal in the interview, mostly because I feel like he should still have some privacy after accepting such a major role. I'd just like to say now that I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come participate in this interview. I know that you probably have a lot better things to be doing, so thanks for helping out. So, we have a new co-principal. What now? Well, I guess we're just going to continue on like we've been doing, not really caring what happens next. That's all I've got for you today, Troy. I'll see you next time.